Hello and welcome to Who Would Win in a Fight. I'd like to briefly discuss something that might be, well, a lot of people can take controversy out of it. Just want to discuss briefly how good was Floyd Mayweather. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to have to admit I was a massive Floyd Mayweather fan. Sure, I like a slugfest as much as the next man, but just in terms of pure boxing, sometimes it can be as exciting to watch as anything else. Now, when you're trying to judge how good fighters are, again, it's like the judging and the scoring system. It can be very subjective. You can try and break down Mayweather's career in terms of just his pure career record and say 49-0. If you want to count the McGregor fight, 50-0. So if you want to say he's undefeated, does that make him the best ever? No, obviously not. There have been other great fighters who have been defeated. Like, for example, Bernard Hopkins lost his first professional fight and lost a couple at the tail end of his career. That really doesn't give a true assessment. If you look at his career, you know, there's a good few losses on his record, but that doesn't detract from how good and how great of a boxer and fighter Bernard Hopkins was. At his peak, while he reigned over the middleweights, he was untouchable. So sometimes just looking at a fighter's boxing record doesn't give the overall picture. I think I'm going to make the distinction between a great boxer and a great fighter. I think Mayweather was a great boxer. Was he a great fighter? Really, we're never going to know because he didn't have to fight all that much. He used his boxing skills to avoid unnecessary punishment. He was great defensive in the shell. Arturo Gatti, on the other hand, he's a great fighter. Was he a great boxer? No. Even his coach said it. One of his coaches said it. That was he the greatest boxer he ever had? No. Was he the greatest athlete he ever had? No. But was he the greatest fighter he ever had? Absolutely yes. I think in the pantheon of boxing legends and boxing greats, I think Mayweather was the greatest boxer of all time. Now, looking back, who would beat him? I think there's very few boxers out there that would beat him. Now, I know a lot of people will immediately spring up and say, Sugar Ray Robinson's the greatest of all time, and you know, you're entitled to your opinion. Would he have beaten Mayweather at welterweight? I don't think so. Would Sugar Ray Robinson have beaten Mayweather at welterweight? I don't think so. Roberto Duran? No chance. Would Marvin Hagler have beaten Mayweather? It's irrelevant. They never would have fought. If Mayweather fought back then or Hagler fought in the modern era, it would never have come to pass. Hagler was a pure middleweight, and Mayweather isn't that foolhardy to move up against a pure middleweight. The only boxer in history I see defeating Floyd Mayweather, and I'm not saying he would unequivocally win, but I think the fighter who would have the greatest chance, especially at welterweight, to beat Mayweather would be Thomas Hearns. And Hearns was a good boxer, great fighter, but I think the reason why I would pick Hearns to have the best chance of any to beat Mayweather would be just because he would have been just so awkward for Mayweather, just his height and his reach alone, and plus his own quite good boxing skills and his tenacity on the inside. Remember, Hearns at times could be, you know, a bit fragile when it came to the chin. That wouldn't have been tested that much with Mayweather. So looking back in history, that's the only fighter I could see beating Mayweather. Again, in terms of how good of a fighter was he, just being able to take punishment and give it out and be able to dig in the trenches, we're really never going to know. We got snapshots of it in his fights against Mosley, where he took two very good flush shots on the chin, and we see how instinctively how well he reacted to both those shots. He didn't go down, didn't take a knee, didn't take a count, so he was as tough as nails. He had a great chin, but above all else, he had an amazing boxing brain. And just to refer back to my final point on this is, how would he have done over in previous generations, if he'd have fought Hearns, Leonard, anyone over 15 rounds, I don't think anyone would have had a chance at beating Mayweather. And the reason I'm going to give is this. Mayweather almost had an inbuilt calibration system when it came to boxing. He might give away the first 2-3 rounds, but by the mid-rounds, if you had given him some difficulty, like Cotto had given him difficulty, like Maidana had given him difficulty, he would have you very quickly figured out by round 6 or 7. So if he was to fight Leonard and Duran over 15 rounds, by round 10 or 11, your number would almost certainly be up. And by rounds 13, 14, if you were still in the fight, you'd just be so disillusioned. He would, I think, down the final stretch in a 15-round fight, he would just coast home. So, is he the best ever? In terms of pure boxing skill and boxing brain, I think he is. Is he the greatest fighter of all time? No. But he didn't need to be the greatest fighter of all time. A lot of people would say it's Ali, it's Robinson. This is why we're here to discuss, contrast our ideas and see how we get on. But me personally, I think he's the greatest of all time, and I don't ever think we're going to see his likes again. So until next time, goodbye.